and esteemed guests. You are welcome to the first joint meeting of Ikeja and Learntor Toastmasters Club. Today, 12th June, 2021. And there's something interesting about today's date. It's also the Democracy Day of our beloved country, Nigeria, regarded as the giant of Africa and the most populous Black nation on earth. Without further ado, let us recite the national pledge of this great country, Nigeria. The national pledge after the count of 2. 1, 2. I pledge to
Nigeria, my
country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend our unity, and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God. Lest I forget, there is one rule whenever we are having a Zoom meeting, and it is the most important of all the rules. All microphones should be muted. You are only to unmute your microphone when it is your turn to speak. So, all microphone muted, aside that of the sergeant at arms. So, if you are wondering where you are, this is a joint meeting of Ikeja and Learntor Toastmasters Club. So, before jumping in to our program for today, let us take the Toastmasters promise. For the guests, the Toastmasters promise is taken before the start of a Toastmasters meeting to remind us of our duties, responsibility, and roles as a member of this great organization. So the Toastmasters promise after the count of 2. 1, 2. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of Toastmasters activities. Thank you very kindly, fellow Toastmasters and our guests present. 12th June is a special day and the day of the clubs, Nigeria, and also everyone listening to my voice. So I am inclined to bring aboard the president of Ikeja Toastmasters Club to set the tone of how today's meeting will proceed. He is a human resource generalist. He believes that a man should be judged by the size of his parts and not the size of his slippers. Ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, make welcome Toastmaster Ademola Elemoro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Please confirm if I'm audible, please.
You are.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Olumide. I do love your tie this morning, not only because of the color, but also because I can see that green suit looks very, 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 very nice on you. And thank you for how you have conducted the meeting. Obviously, I think the incoming administration is also going to miss your charisma, your panache, and of course the style generally that you bring to how you call the meeting to order. Thank you very kindly. I think in a way I feel new, probably because I missed the whole of the meeting, yeah, Toastmasters meeting for last month, and coming back to resuming my duties now makes me feel fresh. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, like Toastmaster Olumide rightly mentioned, this is a joint meeting between the and of course Learntors Toastmasters, about 14 participants in the house. And it is my hope that in the course of the meeting, the number will be going up. And the most important thing is just to celebrate today's meeting because it has a special tone. And let me apologize for not being able to come on with my video. My network is not that strong at the moment, and I believe my best chance is to turn it off. So the meeting today actually has a special theme, and it's a democracy meeting. And some of the things we discussed in the course of putting this meeting together is how to go about it. Should we, since Toastmasters doesn't really like to affiliate with political, but agree that it's not just any political issue. It's one of those issues that comes up once in a year, and we are all Nigerians. Toastmasters, Ikeja Toastmasters and Learntors, though they have an international side, and it's just something I believe we should approach in a way that is balanced, political, democratic, and progressive, and at the same time civil. So that's what today's meeting is going to be about. We want everyone to be free. We want everyone to themselves. We also want everyone to respect one another, and it's a Toastmasters meeting in the end. We are all here to learn and grow, and that's what I'll be looking forward to. So I was thinking of what to talk about today. I will try to be very, very brief because I want to encourage everyone to share their understanding of democracy during the course of the meeting, their understanding of democracy, their understanding of progress, and what they see basically about we as a people. And I believe it's an opportunity that should not be missed. So I was thinking about some of the things to talk about this morning, and I discovered that my audience are adults, and of course, they know the meaning of democracy. And they know the reason why we are celebrating June 12th as a day for democracy. So some of the things I was able to look into was to say, okay, let's just look at democracy that June 12th in a different way. Some of the ways to do that as well is to look at our history, and we'll discover that the concept of the most democracy is, the rights of the citizen to vote. And wherever a citizen does not have that right to vote, or they're unable to elect their leaders, that is a crippled democracy. And I believe it's also one of the most important things Nigeria needs to work on. The right to select fair and true leaders by ourselves and not through influence has a lot of impact in industry, our lives, our beliefs, our progress, and everything. So I think it's really a very, very key ingredient in democracy. So if we are to look at our history, we will discover that we are told from the northern side, for instance, they had a system of government before the colonial masters came in. We were told from the west we had a system of government before the colonial masters came in, and also in the east, all this system of government, as different and democratic as there wasn't anything like voting. They had the ways of electing their leaders, but there were no voting. And so change was became a gradual thing. It led to colonization. Colonization led to people electing legislative council. It led to independence. Independence led to regionalization. Regionalization led to the federal system of government. The federal system of government, we had military. And then, of course, we had the June 12th incident. And as much as it is a tragedy to so many of us, we still had a situation where people voted for their leaders. People voted for their leaders. And at the end of the day, the results were not announced. But in the end, people voted for their leaders. And that right to vote is sacrosanct. And I believe, it's a progress in a way that if you have to look at it from a different perspective. So today in 2021, we have a democratic system of government, even though some of us have our reservations about that particular democracy. We are no longer in a military era. We are no longer under colonial rule. We are no longer under a situation where we are having elections and people are refusing to announce results. So the progress has been there, but it has been very, very slow. And it is my hope that, no matter how challenging and difficult a society can be, eventually changes will come. And it just goes back to the real saying that progress is slow, but it happens. And that will be my message for Nigerians this morning, that as difficult as the country is right now, as scared as everyone is, as angry as everyone is, we should keep our hope alive, should remain hopeful that eventually change will come, progress will come one way or the other. We have good people in Nigeria, and their contribution may be small, but eventually it accumulates. And I believe in the end, everyone will be fine. Our children will be fine. And of course, the future of the country is going to be fine as well. And of course, the future of Ikeja Toastmasters and Learntors as well. Thank you very kindly this morning. I would like to introduce our Toastmaster of the day this morning, translated MC. Our Toastmaster of the day is the incoming president for the Toastmasters year at Ikeja, for the Ikeja administration for 2021-2022. I won't be reading through his bio this morning because I am so excited that he's going to be the one who's going to steer the ship forward. And it's someone who I love so much. If the definition of love is someone who is humble, if the definition of love is somebody who lives up to his responsibilities, if the definition of love, someone who actually has a lot of charisma, competence, and someone you can trust, then I love our Toastmaster of the day for today. And let me also remind you, before I introduce him, that our next meeting coming up on Saturday, Ikeja Toastmasters meeting is going to be physical, and that is the meeting where we'll be introducing our next executives to the rest of the club members, and we're already planning on how to make the meeting a blast, a wonderful one, because it's going to be our first official meeting for 2021. So I really look forward to it. Well, please join me, ladies and gentlemen, as I welcome to the virtual lecture a very lovely and amazing Toastmaster Ibrahim Kazim. Please give him all kinds of applause that you can afford him, either physical, virtual, anyhow. Please welcome him to the virtual lecture. You have the floor, Toastmaster Ibrahim Kazim.
Mr. President, you have the assurances of my highest regard for the heartwarming introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, can you confirm you can hear me loud and clear before I crack on? Thank you most kindly.
Loud and clear, sir.
For the benefit of those joining us for the first time, Toastmaster International is an international organization, a not-profit organization at that, charged with the responsibility of promoting communication, public speaking, and leadership skills. This organization is headquartered in the United States, and it grew out of a single club that was founded by Ralph C. Smedley in October 22nd, 1924. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event is going to be a memorable one, and it will be etched on our memory until the cows come home. It's a joint meeting, joint events between Toastmaster Ikeja and Learntor Toastmasters to commemorate Democracy Day. Naturally, Toastmaster event is divided into three main segments. We have the table topic segments where we think on our feet. We have the prepared speech segments, and lastly, the evaluation segments. But before we dive in, I'd like to call on the general evaluator to introduce his members of team. Who is our general evaluator on today's august occasion? In 2009, he joined Toastmaster. I crave your pardon. In 2009, he was awarded the best student in English phonetic transcription at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria Training School, and he graduated with a distinction after his intermediate program in 2016. He is the founder of Craig Communication Clinic, an establishment that helps children and professionals to achieve proficiency in English communication. Interestingly, Toastmaster Craig earned the Toastmaster Competent Communication Award, and he is the 2021 District 94 International Speech Evaluation Champion. Join me to welcome Toastmaster Craig to the spotlight with a thunderous round of applause.
Mr. Toastmaster, thank you most lovingly for your well-spoken introduction. Members and guests, in consonance with the philosophy of the Toastmasters educational system, evaluation is the most valuable or the crowning moments of a Toastmasters meeting experience. Why? It is a moment where we enhance our personal growth. It is a moment where we learn transferable communication, public speaking, and leadership skills. It is the moment where we build the excellence of our meetings and strengthen the effectiveness of our club. My role as a general evaluator is to provide an overall evaluation and provide suggestions for improvement. Ladies and gentlemen, interestingly, I have a leadership team of impassioned Toastmasters who are going to help me to carry out this task of monumental proportions. First, I'd like to introduce the grammarian briefly. To the best of my knowledge, is an emotional intelligence expert, author, and life coach. He loves to learn and inspire people. I am acutely aware of the fact that our grammarian has 2 books to his credit. Pain is a gift and Treasure in Your Trash. Toastmaster Tosimoke, may kindly describe your function as the grammarian.
All right, thank you most graciously, Toastmaster Greg. It's a privilege to be working under your leadership. All right, good morning, everyone. It's my pride, privilege, and pleasure to serve as your grammarian for this august, illustrious, and magnanimous occasion. And I'll be serving as your grammarian. It was the legendary Evan Ford, the founder of the Ford Motors, that said, anyone who stops learning is old. Whether at 20 or at 80, you're old. But whoever learns keeps learning stays young for life. Hence, my role as the grammarian is to ensure that we keep learning, or that we take something home, or we leave this meeting as better individuals than we came. And I'll be doing that by serving you with a word of the day, which I've already posted in the chat box and is pronounced as inane. Can someone just repeat after me? Inane. Inane. It's an adjective and it means lacking sense or meaning. It also means silly. And you can, an example, for instance, you can say, it would be inane not to join today's protest, the June 12th protest, and not spend your time wisely. So the excuse for not joining the protest is because you have something very valuable, something very important, very vital to do. You can also say it would be inane, or for example, it would be inane to join a Toastmasters meeting and not to learn something new, not become a better version of yourself. So that's the word of the day. Let's try as much as possible to include this in our vocabulary, in our words, in our speeches, and everything we do today. It helps to develop your vocabulary. And then secondly, I'll also be listening for proper usage of the English language. We understand that the English language is not our mother tongue, and some of us may have some errors or have some, issues. However, the Toastmasters meeting is not when we do not aim to perfection. Yeah, we aim to improve ourselves. So, like someone would say, delayed perfection, or delayed perfection is worse, or rather, constant improvement is better than delayed perfection. So what matters the most is that you always improve yourself. On this note, I'd like to hand over back the baton of leadership to my mentor, my friend, and someone I hold in high esteem, Toastmaster Greg. So over to you, sir.
Thank you most exquisitely, Toastmaster Toasty, for the description of your role. I'm thankful for the fact that you were not inane in doing so. Ladies and gentlemen, the second functionary will serve as the timekeeper. She's none other than Toastmaster Mercy George-Igbafe. She is a digital strategist and the founder of Learntor, a consulting company focused on agile digital transformational training. Toastmaster Mercy, can you please briefly talk us through the timing sequences of the meeting?
Thank you. Thank you very kindly for the warmth of your introduction, the general evaluator. So today, as the timer of today's timekeeper, my responsibility is to make sure you speak within time. The event goes according to time. Although we started late today, however, it should be inane not to keep within the time box of your speech. However, the table topic speeches, you're supposed to speak for 2 minutes. At 1 minute exactly, you will see a demonstration as I'll pin myself to your chat. You'll see the green flag telling you you're within time, you're within 1 minute. And at 1 minute 30 seconds, the yellow will come up. And at 2 minutes exactly, the red card will show that you are exactly within 2 minutes. But however, don't be so quick to just end your conversation. You still have 30 seconds grace. Similarly, for the prepared speeches, which is between 5 to 7 minutes, exactly 5 minutes, you will see the green card pop, and I'll be pinned to the screen as well. And exactly 6 minutes, you will see the yellow. And at 7, the same action will be taken with the red. But however, you still have 30 seconds grace to round up your conversation. And over to you. They say, time waits for no man. So it will be named not to keep to your time that you have been allocated. Over to you, the general evaluator.
Thank you very much. It would be named not to keep to the time allotments for your speaking opportunity. Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Mercy. Your description has foreshadowed clearly and unflinchingly the fact that time management and communication are inextricably intertwined. Ladies and gentlemen, the third going to serve as the listening evaluator. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Toastmaster Boluwatife Banwo. He is a human resources professional, and he has an unbridled passion for leadership and politics. And guess what? His focus for 2021 is all-round growth. Toastmaster Banwo, can you briefly describe your responsibility as the listening evaluator or quiz master?
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Forgive me, I will not be using my video. My role today is that of the listening evaluator. And as we all know, it's important that we all pay attention when we come for Toastmasters. The art of communication also includes listening. And so while most of us have honed our skills in speaking, we tend not to have done so well in listening. That is the essence of my role today, to ensure that we listen attentively to every little thing that is said in today's meeting, so that at the end of the meeting, I will come back to ask us a few questions about the things that were said in the meeting and the people that said them. Also, I'd like us to pay rapt attention to the speeches, because I'll probably be picking my quotes from there. On this note, I'd like to hand over the lectern back to the general evaluator.
All right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Boluwatife, for your coruscatingly brilliant description of your responsibility as a listening evaluator. Members and guests, the last functionary on my team is the R counter or R master. This individual is a student who is fervently passionate about public speaking and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Toastmaster Dosumu Abdurrahim. Dosumu, can you briefly demystify your function as the R master?
Now, thank you very much, the general evaluator. Listening to you gives me goosebumps. You can see it all over my body. So, as the R counter for today, my purpose is I'm going to note words and sounds that are used as crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I'll be listening to overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I'm also listening for filler sounds, including and I'll also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I'll report the number of times that each speaker used the expression. So I'm warning you, do not use the pause filler while giving your speech. Thank you very much, General Evaluator.
Right, Toastmaster Dosumu, thank you most graciously for your demystification of your responsibilities. From the frame of reference of communication, it is inane to use those space-filling sounds. That's about all for now, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to return in collaboration with members of my team to conduct the evaluation portion of the meeting experience. Until then, aim for the moon, and if you miss, you may hit a star. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Aim for the moon. If you fail, you might hit the star. Thank you very kindly, the general evaluator, for the perfect description of your roles and that of the members of your team. On this note, if you are just joining us, we are live. Ikeja Learntor Toastmasters having a joint meeting to commemorate Democracy Day. All right, so we shall now glide graciously into the next segment, and that is the table topic segments. In the past, when I just joined Toastmaster, it's that segment when I develop cold feet. I feel so nervous, hoping not to be called, but I will tell you that this segment develops our critical thinking faculty. And to do justice to that segment is a graduate of human anatomy and the brain behind Beautiful Minds Inspiration Charity Network. She loves watching horror movies and telling stories. That's evident in the previous contests she won and around horror movies and all. So it's none other than Toastmaster Rosemary Amadi. Over to you, Toastmaster Rosemary.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster of the Day. The President, Mr. Toastmaster, my fellow Toastmasters, and wonderful guests, good morning to you. I am Toastmaster Rosemary, and I'm the one anchoring today's table topic. So we all know what table topic is. Table topic is one of the vital and the most interesting parts of every Toastmasters meeting. Table topic helps you to think on your feet. It helps you to listen actively. And it not just helps you only in the club, but outside in our daily life. Table topics is where members and even guests are asked to speak on any topic for just a minute. So it could be on any topic, and non-members are allowed to speak. So for the timing for each table topic is 2 minutes. So once it is 1 minute, the timer is going to display the green card. Once it is 1.5 minutes, the timer is going to display the yellow card. And once it is 2 minutes, the timer will display the red card, which is for you. So thank you, timer, for displaying that. So, but we still have grace of 30 minutes after the 2 minutes. So for today, I have prepared 3 wonderful topics which are aligned to today's theme. Today's democracy. So for this 3 topics, the first one, I would assign this topic to Toastmaster Chidimadu. Toastmaster Chidimadu, are you there? Toastmaster Chidimadu. Okay. I don't think Toastmaster Chidimadu is there. Hang there. Okay. Since Toastmaster Chidimadu is not there, I will assign the first topic to someone else. Toastmaster Olubumi. Are you also there?
Chidi is trying.
Okay, she's trying to come up.
I can hear my name. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, Toastmaster Chidi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Connected. I just joined the meeting. All right. I'm here.
Okay, you're very welcome. So I would like you to do justice to one of our table topics this morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So the topic is, in your own opinion, what do you think about democracy in Nigeria? In your own opinion, what do you think about democracy in Nigeria? Mr. TV, you can speak now.
Thank you. Thank you, the Table Topics Master. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Democracy is said to be what? Government for the people, by the people. In my own addition, with the people. You really cannot talk about democracy without talking about the people who make up that democracy, people who would make democracy work. In Nigeria, I cannot confirm or allude to the fact that what we practice is democracy. And I'm not talking about the government at this point. I'm talking about every one of us in the country. At every step we take on leadership roles or leadership positions, how do we lead? How do we treat those who are our followers? I think democracy is about the person, the people, the leader, the followers, and everyone in that mix in the community. So you ask me about democracy in Nigeria, I would say it is what we have decided to make it be. We have issues with the government, yes. On one hand, there are those who would have issues. On the other hand, there are those who would tell you that the government is doing what they can do. The question for me and for us today then is, are we doing what we can do and what we should do? Or are we hiding under the canopy of the fact that I'm not the one in leadership? I am not the one who's a leader here to be able to then push forward. I always tell anyone who cares to listen to me that leadership is by title. Rather, it is by inspiration. It is by impact. It is how you affect the person beside you, your neighbor, your friend, your brother, your sister, your colleague. How do you impact that person? Are you an inspiration to that person? Do you leave a positive taste in the person's mouth when you're around or not around them? To me, that is what democracy is about. Back to the Table Topics Master of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster TD. That was very wonderful. Thank you for reminding us what democracy is, that democracy is for the people and by the people. Thank you for also letting us know how we should be effective as a leader. And the question, are we doing what we should do or what we ought to do? That's the question we ought to ask ourselves, both the leaders and us, the people. We need to ask ourselves if we're doing the right thing or we are hiding under an umbrella. So thank you very much. For the second table topic, I will assign this to Toastmaster Arinola. I don't know if she's there. Arinola Adeleye, can you hear me? Toastmaster Arinola. Okay. Toastmaster Arinola. I think she's there. Okay. So since Toastmaster Arinola Adeleye is not there, I would like Toastmaster Boluwatife to do justice to the second topic. Toastmaster Boluwatife, are you also there?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. So please, what's the question?
Okay, thank you. So the second table topic is, as a citizen, we are entitled to several human rights. So, what, in your own opinion, what is your what give? I don't know if you can tell us one of the important human rights of a citizen in Nigeria and why you think it's very important.
Okay.
Did you get my question?
Thank you very much. Yes, I did. One, human right and why I think it's important. I think that, thank you, Tabletop Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters,
yes,
and our guests. The right to life is the most important human right. This is because it is the foundation for every other right. The right to freedom is built on the right to life. And so it's also important to note that the first responsibility of government through the social contract that we technically signed is the protection of lives and property. This lays credence to what I said earlier, that the right to life is the most important thing. Unfortunately, we have seen over the years how the value of life has been desecrated. We no longer care about human life. I was reading a report this morning about the number of people who have died in the last 6 months in our country. If you don't give me any other right, as a human being, let me have the right to life. I can chart my course from there. I can choose to provide my security. I can choose to find my way around freedom. But if I don't have life, I have nothing. My dreams, my goals, my hopes, my aspiration, all gone. And so if anybody is going to be a leader, you must first know that your first and foremost responsibility is to protect the lives of your citizens. And so that is the most important human right. And that is where we are seriously failing as a country. It is my hope that those of us that are in this meeting who will go on to become leaders in the future will understand this fact and will act accordingly. It is inane to give me any other right if you've not given me the right to life. The Toastmaster, the Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Balariwa. Thank you very much for making us realize how important life is. You said the right to life is important to you, and why? Because without life, one's aspirations, one's dreams become inane. You can't do anything in the world without life. So a citizen has to have the right to live, the right to carry out his or her daily goal or purpose. And we all know that throughout this month, in fact, even this period, the way lives have been lost has been really disheartening, and it's uncalled for. So thank you for reminding us how important it is for us to, take the right to life very seriously. I remember I was supposed to go for your protest after today's meeting. So when I remember that particular right, I said, let me hold on to myself. I love my life. I might go for the protest and it may turn bloody. So I said, after the Toastmaster meeting, I'll protest offline. So thank you very much, Toastmaster Polariwa. So for the last and not the least topic question, it's to go back to Awinola Adeleye. I think she's back on now. Awinola Adeleye, can you hear me?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I just came back from my morning jogging. Can I have the question again? So I didn't get the questions. Thank you.
No problem, it's fine. So the topic is right now there are so many issues, so many problems facing democracy in Nigeria. So in your own perspective, can you discuss maybe one or two topics you feel is facing, causing issues in democracy in Nigeria?
Okay. Thank you so much. There are so many issues affecting democracy in Nigeria, just like you have noted. However, I will want to talk about right now, insecurity is actually pulling us back. And the insecurity seems to be, it's been made to be, how will I say it now? It's been made to be so major that the different regional parts of Nigeria are threatening to pull out. We have the East threatening to pull out. We have the West threatening to pull out. And I think we need to go back to the basics to address these issues. And we all know what they have. We have the Boko Haram from the north, as well as the Fulani herdsmen. It's so bad that even people that are interested in going into agriculture are even finding it challenging now. So for me, I think it's a major threat to democracy. We've worked so hard, we've tried so hard after democracy came back in 1999. And one would have expected that instead of, I don't even want to say we are stagnant now, we are actually retrogressing. We are going back several centuries. And unless those issues, the issue of insecurity majorly is addressed, we might not be able to move forward. So it's a major threat, and the solution lies with the leaders as well as suggestions from everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aunala Deleye, for that wonderful explanation. It is true that insecurity is one of the big problems in democracy because, like you said, the three major tribes in Nigeria are trying to pull out from each other from Nigeria. So the government needs to step in. It's their responsibility to provide this security, to provide that this huge security in Nigeria. So we need to feel safe. We need to feel together. We need to feel that the government is working with the citizens. So thank you very kindly for explaining to us. I also feel that, to add to what you say, another issue that is affecting democracy is the leadership, the actions of the leaders. For the past months, the actions of the leaders, especially the president, has been uncalled for. It has not been going well. It has been having negative influence on the citizens. So I believe every leader should, whatever actions they should take in the country or with the people, they should be conscious of it, before carrying it out. So I really want to appreciate everyone, especially the lovely ones that participated in table topic session. I had a good time and everyone did very well. So I would like to ask the timer if everyone qualified for the table topic session. The timer.
Thank you, the table topic master. Thank you so very kindly. And thank you for badgering me for the time. Yes, Toastmaster Chidi Madu spoke for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Toastmaster Boluwate Febanwo spoke for 2 minutes and 1 second. Toastmaster Ariola Adeleye spoke for 1 minute, 49 seconds. So they all qualify based on the time box. And over to you, the table topic master.
Okay, I really want to appreciate everyone. And I'm grateful that we all spoke and we're all qualified for the topic section. So I'll hand over to the table topic evaluator to carry on. Thank you very much.
A point of order, please, Madam Topics Master. I suppose you ought to renounce control of the spotlight to the Toastmaster of the day, and he will undertake the responsibility to segue the meeting into the table topics evaluation portion.
Okay, noted. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Rosemary, for giving way. And thank you most graciously, Toastmaster Craig, for your timely intervention. They say you can never see the picture if you are in the frame. That leads us to the evaluation segment. But before we do, I would like us to coordinate the vote now. Toastmaster Mercy, do we have the poll on the screen? All right. So we have just 2 minutes. We have 1 minute to complete the vote. Toastmaster Mercy, can we have the clock on the screen? 1 minute, please.
The poll has a timer, so when exactly it's 2 minutes, I'll end the poll. The timer is on the poll.
All right.
I think we should continue with the evaluation, please.
In 20 seconds, the poll will be ended, but we can still carry on.
All right. So to do justice to the evaluation of the table topics, is a trained auto technician and also keen on self-development. He's a lover of advanced politics and the science of strategy. He's passionate about inspiring people and believes possibility are boundless. Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade is incumbent sergeant at arms of Ikeja Toastmasters Club. May I indulge all of you to welcome Toastmaster Olumide to the spotlight with a resounding round of applause.
Thank you very kindly, the Toastmaster of the day. It is time for the table topics evaluation, and we delve into it right away. The table topics master was on fire. She gave a good account of herself. And the question were not inane to the celebration we are having today, Democracy Day. The first speaker was Toastmaster Chidi Madu. What do you think about democracy in Nigeria? And she started by defining it, what it means. She also had a charming smile. She related it to us as a leader in different fields and also asked rhetorical questions. That was a lovely one. However, what I think she would have done better is her network was challenging, that the video was not moving. The video was still. I think getting a better network would have availed us the opportunity of seeing your gesture and seeing more of your charming smile. Also, you didn't use the word of the day. So I'm going to note it because you are an experienced speaker. Overall, you did a good job. You defined what democracy means, and we were all engaged throughout your speech. The second question was on human rights and why it is important, which was answered by Toastmaster Boluwatife Banwo. I love the sound of your voice. Rhythmic. You were just giving it to us. So I love it all true. You repeated the question and you told us the right to life is the most important. You also told us why it supersedes all other rights. Because without right to life, there is nothing we can do. You had the presence of mind, spun the word of the day, and you used it effectively. Toastmaster Boluwatife, what would I love you to have done better? Your video. Your video was off throughout the speech. I think if you had the video on, your delivery would have lived a very long time in our memory. Overall, you did fantastically well. And the last question was some issues affecting democracy was asked, and intending Toastmaster Ariola was the respondent. She repeated the question. She addressed the issue. She has so much points that I struggled to write some of the things. You gave us, and you didn't just respond to them, you gave us practical solutions or things that can be done to find a leeway. What would I have loved you done better? You made use of the pause filler excessively. It was much. At the time I ran out of counts. I was just listening for the next one. Also, you didn't maintain an eye contact with the lens throughout your speech. You were just looking up. I would love you in your future engagement to make eye contact with your lens, with your phone, with your gadgets. That way, we know you are interacting with us. You know, you had a wonderful presentation, and I can say it emphatically that all the questions asked are very relatable. Over to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
The table topics evaluator, thank you most generously. Can we all applaud him accordingly for the well done job? Fellow Toastmasters, our delectable guests, if you are just tuning in, we are still live. Ikeja and Learntor Joint Democracy Day meeting. As we proceed, we now glide gracefully into the next segment, and that's the prepared speech segments. So we have a mix of prepared speech from the pathway, and some of us that have chosen to speak about the past hero. The first person to grace the podium is Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade. I already did an introduction of him while he was being called on the virtual lecture. Toastmaster Olumide will be talking about past hero. Let's listen keenly to him. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Olumide.
Maya Angelou said, and I quote, "People will remember what you said. People will remember what you did."
So before Toastmaster Olumide continues, just 1 minute, his speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Elemoro. So you don't have to give any speech objective. It's been provided earlier. Toastmaster Olumide, please fire on all cylinders.
It was Maya Angelou that said, and I quote, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." The Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, how do you make people feel? For most women, Amazons and trailblazers, Olufunmilayo Ransom Kuti gave hope, inspired confidence, and shaped the dream of the girl child in Nigeria. She was born 25th October 1900 in Abeokuta, southwest Nigeria. It can be overemphasized that education is the bedrock of civilization. She is the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School. That feat was a landmark for the feminine gender, that possibilities are boundless. Furthermore, she served as a teacher and helped organize the first preschool class in the country. She also helped set up a literacy class for lower income women. Similarly, her activism came to bear when an outrageous tax was imposed on Egba women by the Alaki of Egbaland during his days as the king. No one could speak. Hopelessness was the hair they nailed until the Amazon named Olufunmilayo Ransom Kuti showed up. Do you know she led the protests of over 1,000 women? And that did not only abolish the tax, it abnegated the king. In 1947, the West African Pilot, a widely read newspaper, described her as the lioness of Lishabi for the leadership she offered during the arbitrary transition of the Egba women. More so, we can't speak about the independence movement without referencing her, because she attended conferences and also joined overseas delegations to discuss the proposed national constitution. Also, she can be regarded as the woman that understands the real concept of feminism, and a perfect example for all aspiring feminists. She was married to Mr. Israel Oludotun Ransom Kuti, who was a clergyman and Nigeria educationalist. In Nigeria, a person of Olufunmilayo Ransom Kuti is indispensable. Even little children know her as the first woman to drive a car. Her activism was so strong that even 3 of her children took after her. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, you will agree with me that we need more of trailblazers and not just tweeters and twerkers to achieve a greater nation. A woman like Funmilayo believes in a united Nigeria. Until her death in 1978, she believes in Nigeria where no one is neither under any shackles nor chains. She believed in the country that oozes hope and inspires confidence. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, as Nigeria celebrates a Democracy Day, I look forward to seeing the resurgence of heroes and heroines. Our founding father set the pace. We should not bicker, rather run the race in a way devoid of ethnic jingoism and religious bigotry. A woman like Funmilayo Ransom Kuti saw the big picture, and that was why she lived beyond all impediments to set the pace for every successful women and aspiring leaders. The Toastmaster.
Wow, 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 wow. A resounding round of applause to our first speaker, Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade. He actually did fire on all cylinders. Thank you so kindly for sending us back memory lane. I've learned one or two things from what you had delivered. Thank you most wonderfully. The next in line is our second speaker, Toastmaster Isaac Ojo. Are you ready? Know that you are having some challenges with your connection.
Yes, I'm here. Can I be heard? Can you hear me?
In flying color. Thank you so kindly. So
Thank you.
Toastmaster Isaac Ojo, let me read his citation, just a moment. Toastmaster Isaac Ojo is from the Niger Delta zone of Nigeria. He likes to see himself as a person who is different by the way he thinks and carries on with life. An occupational safety, health, environment, and quality consultant and trainer. He's a graduate member of the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health. He loves music, movies, learning new things, and being alone. To evaluate Toastmaster Isaac's speech is Toastmaster Chidi Chukudi Madu, our area director and upcoming division director. Toastmaster Chidi, may I ask you to read out Toastmaster Isaac's speech objective?
Thank you, Toastmaster Ibrahim again. Toastmaster Isaac will be speaking on his Level 1 Project 2 speech. And his speech objective is to give a speech on any topic, which will be evaluated, and the same speech will be delivered at another meeting, incorporating the evaluations he will receive today. Toastmaster Isaac, I wish you the very best.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster.
And now hand over the control of the virtual lecture to Toastmaster Isaac. Toastmaster Isaac, please break a leg.
Most of us here either live in Lagos, work in Lagos, or both. We know how challenging it can be moving within Lagos, out of Lagos, or into Lagos, the vehicular and human traffic. With the population of Lagos, we usually come into close interactions with one another as we move around Lagos. And for these interactions to be low on rancor, patience needs to be imbibed. The Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and my esteemed guests, I once heard someone make a statement that patience is a virtue. And ever since I heard that statement, it has stayed with me. Segun, a passionate and hardworking young man, had just returned to Lagos after about 5 years away from the city to take up a managerial role in a consulting firm. As part of the perks of his office, he was to be given an official car. But unfortunately, his company could not hand that car over to him immediately. Why? Because Segun's driving was not perfect yet. Now, to perfect his driving, Segun needed to take driving lessons. So began Segun's journey in interacting with other road users in Lagos. Now, Segun had long made up his mind that whenever he was on Lagos Road, that he was not going to be part of the usual road rage that happens in Lagos, that rather he was going to be conscious of everything he said and did while driving. Now, for his driving lessons, Segun called up a driving school owned by someone he knew. They went through agreements on the amount to pay and the day for his driving lessons to start. Now, on the day of his driving lessons, he met with his driving instructor. They went through preliminary introductions and instructions, and his lessons started. Segun's very first encounter with the attitude of an average Lagos driver happened when he got hit from behind by a driver, even with the bold learner signs all over the vehicle. Now, Segun had always known how impatient Lagos drivers could be, but he had just experienced it firsthand. Segun's driving lessons only took place for about a few days, and afterwards, his lessons ended and was issued a certificate. And Segun looked at the certificate and he jokingly wondered to himself, does this mean that my driving is perfect now? Of course, he knew the answer to the question that was on his mind. And I'm sure you all here in this meeting also know the answer to the question on Segun's mind. Now that Segun has acquired a certificate to show that he can at least move a vehicle on the road, his company decided to hand over the vehicle to him. But unfortunately, Segun did not have the courage to drive that car home on the first day. So Segun came up with this fantastic idea. And Segun thought to himself, I will drive this car around our office neighborhood for a few times. And after I feel that my driving confidence has improved, then I can start driving the car home. But his friends and colleagues at work were not having any of that. They motivated Segun to drive that car home on that first day with a colleague who could drive riding beside him. Interestingly, there was no incident on the first day. The second, nor the third, there was no incident. Segun's first incident while he started driving happened about a week after. It wasn't a very serious issue. It was just the bumper of his car that got dented. The incident that struck a chord with Shegun happened about 3 weeks after. For that incident reminded Shegun of the importance of patience. For patience is a virtue. Shegun was driving home on that day and met the usual traffic in Lagos. And while he was in traffic, another driver tried forcing his way in front of Shegun, and Shegun was not going to have any of that. And Shegun vehemently tried preventing the other driver from getting in front of him. And boom, in the process, the other driver crashed into Shegun's bumper, denting his bumper yet again. And in Shegun's mind, what the driver had done was quite inane. He just could not understand it. But then he thought again, maybe if I had been patient, this incident would not have happened. It was Aristotle, the famous Greek philosopher, that said that patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Incidents such as this that try our patience present themselves to us on Lagos roads and even in our lives on a daily basis. The outcome of such situations could be different if we take a moment to be still and allow ourselves to be patient. The Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you most generously, Toastmaster Isaac, for that wonderful presentation. Patience is a virtue. Patience is bitter, but in truth is sweet. Thank you most wonderfully for that super delivery. Moving on, we will now call on the next speaker to the virtual lecture. Our next speaker is our incumbent area director and also the incoming division director of area of Division F. I crave your pardon. She's none other than Toastmaster Chidi Chukwudi Madu. And to evaluate that speech is Toastmaster Elemoro, the current president of our dear club. Toastmaster Elemoro, could you please read out Toastmaster Chidi's speech objective?
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Please borrow me some seconds. All right. For the next speech, the purpose of the speech is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Once again, the purpose of this speech is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Have fun and break a leg.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lemoro. I now invite Toastmaster Chidi to the spotlight. All the best.
Toastmaster Chidi, we can't hear you.
Chidi, I think you're muted.
Toastmaster Chidi, you might want to disconnect one of your audio. That's why there's a feedback. So if you go to where the audio
Confirm you can hear me.
is,
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you.
But you can still
Can you hear me clearly? Can I go ahead?
Yes, we can hear you with flying colors.
Thank you most graciously, Toastmasters every day. Emeka, how many times did I call you? I don't want to see you anywhere close to the common affairs again. Those people are bad people. Who makes them bad? Let me help me with my homework yesterday when you were in the shop. You didn't do anything bad to me. Hey, Emeka, stop being silly. What am I naming to say to your mother at this time? I have warned you. I do not want to see you anywhere close to the common affairs. Do not let me repeat myself, or I will spank you. And for the next 1 week, you will feel the pain on your butt. But Mom, don't butt me. Fellow Toastmasters and guests. That was conversation that happened between Emeka and his mother some months ago. You see, the common affairs had just moved into the neighborhood, a family of 6. 4 kids, mother and father. And Emeka's mother believed they are bad, not because she had had any interactions with them, but because she's had somebody said they are bad. How many of us here have picked up enmity with others because someone said something? But you have a friend who feels that someone is not good enough to be your friend. Or your friend who has a quarrel and you inherited that quarrel. After this drama, Emeka tried to obey his mother by staying away from his siblings. But it was difficult because he felt that these children had done nothing to him. It's good to see them in secret, work together, and he was sure to be home before his mother came back. Until one day, there was a fire in their building. All the neighbors were running helter-skelter, trying to douse the fire out. Some good Samaritans ran all the way to Mama Emeka's shop and called her in the house, and the house was on fire. Mama Emeka ran like with her heart beating so fast as though
We can't hear you again. Toastmaster Chidi, we can't hear you again.
I guess our network is bad.
Toastmaster Chidi, are you still there?
She's muted now.
Yes, she's muted. Could you please unmute yourself and fire on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please continue.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you. Veronica ran home, worried, scared, with her heart. Alas, when she got home, she saw her bed wrapped in a blanket. Injuries, alas, there was none. Suddenly, she caught sight of a man standing to the side, being tended to by the neighbors. When she broke into the circle, it was no other person but Mr. Komolafe, who had burns on his hands, who had burns on his neck, while rescuing Emeka from the fire. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Steve Maraboli, an American writer, had said that you do not wait for others to be forgiving, to be grateful, to reach out. You should take the lead. Because at the end of the day, all everyone desires or what everyone needs is love. I've seen a meme that has been going around the past days that said, we are all one until race divided us, until our social status separated us. Some of us have inherited quarrels, inherited hate, inherited hurt. We've let other people conditioned on how we relate with others. My charge to you today is to be Mr. Komolafe, let love lead. Don't focus on what anyone is saying or doing or not doing, or how inane some persons might sound when they talk to you or talk about you. Because the truth is, no matter what you do, good, bad, ugly, there's always a story to be told about you. The one good thing you can do for yourself and to everybody around you is to be the one to tell your story, how and when you want it told. Spread love. Be kind to people. Because when you spread love to those around you, it will have a ripple effect. Love will supersede everything. The hurt we're feeling today, we probably would not feel it anymore. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, be like Mr. Komolafe and let love lead. A Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Chidi. May I crave everyone's indulgence to give her a resounding round of applause, either virtually or physically. Let love live. Let's be like Mr. Komolafe. All right, moving on. Still on the prepared speech segment, I'll now call on the last but not least speaker, who will be talking about one of the heroes or heroine. I wouldn't let the cat out of the bag yet. Who is this person? She is the founder of Learntor, a consulting company focused on agile digital transformation training, agile Scrum, Kanban. She's a certified Scrum Master and accredited professional digital marketer, expertise in project management, business analysis across various sectors, with a growing community of over 1,500 and trained for over 2,000 Nigerian. Her partnership with Scrum.org and listed as a member of Professional Training Network. Her goal is to bridge the digital skills gap for Nigerian youth and women. Who is this person? She's none other than Toastmaster Mercy George-Igbafe. But before I hand over the control of the spotlight, I'd like to let us know that she will be evaluated by Toastmaster Ibrahim Kasim. All right, Toastmaster Mercy, please fire on all cylinder.
Please confirm you can hear me. I dropped off now.
But of course, Toastmaster Mercy, we can hear you with a flourish of trumpets.
Okay, thank you so very kindly. So I'll reset my timer because the network dropped. It would be inane not to speak of Chief MKO Abiola. In one of his famous quotes, he said, "Only real democracy can move a nation forward progress, and earn a respect she deserves from the international community." If I can get in the chat, do you agree with this quote by the late Chief MKO Abiola? Fellow Toastmasters, guests, friends, and those online viewers that are watching us on our multicasted stream channel. Chief MKO equally added in his famous quote, he said, "A scarcity of books and equipment has rendered our school into desolate desert of ignorance." Personally, I agree with this quote.
Yeah, Toastmaster Mercy, it seems your network is crackly. We are struggling hard to make a sense of your delivery currently. We can't hear you. Yeah, I think she logged off due to the network challenges she's having. And our time really is far spent. May I ask the president, shall we proceed to the next segment? Because we have really spent our time beyond the schedule. Just Mr. Lemoro, shall we proceed to the next segment?
Point of order, please. Mr. Toastmaster, we have no choice but to glide gracefully into the evaluation portion of the meeting.
But of course, Toastmaster Craig, it would be inane to delay this segment further. On this note, I would like to call on the general evaluator to anchor this particular segment. Like I said earlier, you cannot see this picture if you are in the frame. Now, I relinquish the control of the virtual lecture to the general evaluator. Over to you now, Toastmaster Craig.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evaluation portion of a Toastmasters meeting is the most valuable moment of the experience. As I described it earlier, it is the jewel in the crown of a Toastmasters meeting experience, because it was St. Jerome, the Latin historian, who said, "Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best." Those words crystallize the symbolic significance of evaluation in line with the Toastmasters educational philosophy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is of paramount significance for you to know that the general evaluation portion of the meeting is structurally festooned with 3 segments. First, we have the speech evaluation, or the evaluation of the speeches. Second, the reports of the role takers or role bearers. And then last but not least, we are going to segue into the evaluation of the general evaluator. Let's begin with the evaluation of the prepared speakers. But before we move on, by my watch now, it is 11:44, and it is patently obvious that we're going to extend the closing time. In the light of that, I hereby propose a motion for the closing time to be extended. I request the indulgence of the President or the Vice President Education to second the motion before I carry on.
Please proceed, sir.
All right, thank you very kindly. As Toastmasters, we don't have a stomach for inanities. Mr. Grammarian, I've used the word as a plural noun. We don't have a stomach for inanities, and that is why we don't rush evaluation. All right, our first speaker was Toastmaster Lumide Ajibade, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Ademola Elemoro. Elemoro, what did he do well, and what are your improvement suggestions?
My apologies.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Craig. Thank you very kindly. I will be evaluating. I evaluated Toastmaster Olumide's presentation, and it was supposed to be a speech based on democracy. And I loved so many things about that presentation. And basically, if I'm to summarize what Toastmaster Olumide did was to remind us of certain things, our common experience, our common struggle, and our common history. And that was a speech that really has a lot of content, a lot of conviction, and of course, a lot of meaning at this particular time. He began that speech with a quote, which I felt was very wise. He also made reference to a newspaper. I don't know how that idea came to him, but I do see that Barack Obama, whenever he gives an eulogy about historical figures, he always makes reference to what the newspaper was saying about them at that particular time. For him to do that in this particular speech, that really connected with me. I felt that was professional, that was wise, and of course, it gave more believability that what he was saying was well researched. Also, I saw that in terms of the basic communication elements, the voice, the body language, the charisma, the eye contact, the structure of the speech, everything was on point. So what do I think you could have done better in terms of that speech? That particular speech actually has relevance to a project under the traditional manual, something about under storytelling about historical figures or events. And I think some of the things that was discussed under that project is to make use of rhetorical devices. And I was hoping that he would do that, but I think in one or two occasions it did make use of some rhetorical devices, but not as much as I would have loved him to have done so, especially imagery and onomatopoeia, some words that would have painted a picture of how the atmosphere was at that time, and some words that would have sent some imagination, some sounds to our minds to help us connect it to the incidents at that particular period. So if there's something I would point out, I would say you should, by using rhetorical devices like imagery and onomatopoeia and simile, personification, metaphor, those things would have all Toastmaster Olumide did justice to that particular topic. I listened to that presentation with my wife, and it was beautiful. We enjoyed it, and I got to learn so much more about Madam Funmilayo Anikulapo-Kuti, and I really appreciate that at this point, and I do congratulate him for that beautiful presentation.
All right, Toastmaster Ademola Lemoro, thank you very kindly for your meaningful evaluation. Toastmaster Mercy, thank goodness you're back. How did the speakers perform in line with the time allotments, please?
Thank you so much. My network was the name to my speech. However, Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade spoke for 6 minutes and 45 seconds, while Toastmaster Isaac spoke for 6 minutes and 53 seconds. Toastmaster Chidi, however, overshot her time, unless the time allotted to her was not 7 minutes. She spoke for 8 minutes and 15 seconds.
Right, Toastmaster Mercy George-Igbafe, thank you very kindly for the unparalleled competence of your feedback. Many thanks for that. Toastmaster Ibrahim Kasim, are we going to vote for the best prepared speaker? Please confirm to me.
Well, I think for the sake of time, and also the fact that we had a mix of speeches from pathway and non-pathway, I would say that we shouldn't vote for that segment of presentation. So we can proceed with
right to him. I hereby confirm to you with unrivaled conviction that that sounds instructional and insightful to me as a general evaluator. Many thanks for your feedback. Our second speaker was Toastmaster Isaac, and Isaac's speech would be evaluated by Toastmaster Chidi. Toastmaster Chidi, what do you excel at, and what are your improvement recommendations?
Thank you, most graciously, Toastmaster Free. Good morning, Toast. It's still morning. Good morning, Toastmaster. Right, okay, I can see you now. Toastmaster Isaac, congratulations. And highlighting the importance of patience to us. I loved that you had a strong opening, relating it to something that I'm positive over 90% of the people on this call can relate to. Driving in Lagos State. You mentioned the road rage. I'm sure we have taken us to someone exhibiting the road rage on the Lagos road. I love that you use a story to pass your message across. You infused the word of the day. You had very good gestures. You stood while you were speaking, and you made sure that your gestures was controlled and effective. Well done for that. I said that you use something relatable. You use a story. A point I would want you to pay attention to is the transitioning of your story. So the transitioning of your speech itself was good. You had a clear opening, you had a body, which was the story, and you had the concluding part. However, I felt you could have done justice to the story by leading us to a climax before ending. The way you progressed on your story, at the point where I thought you could have ended it, a point of apex where I felt was the climax, you still went ahead to explain further on the importance of patience and how Isaac felt he could have been patient. I felt that dampened the impact that story would have had. Also, you need to pay attention to your vocal variety. Your story had areas where you could have infused a higher pitch or lower pitch to personalize it, especially when you made reference to Isaac and the conversations, sorry, not Isaac, the conversations that your protagonist had. You could have used a different voice modulation to let us understand that it's a different character speaking. You used the same voice throughout, so we really couldn't tell who was speaking, if it was the storyteller or the character in the story. Apart from that, good story, good transitioning in your speech, you used the word of the day, you had good gestures, your story was relatable, and you ended with a bang. You used the quotes, drawing our attention to the fact that patience is a virtue and we need to imbibe it if we need to become better versions of ourselves. Congratulations once again, Toastmaster Isaac. Over to you, the general evaluator.
Toastmaster Chidi Chukudi Madu, thank you very kindly for your educational evaluation. I'd like to confirm if the timekeeper is on the call. Toastmaster Mercy, are you on the call, please? Toastmaster Mercy, are you on the call, please? May I request that Toastmaster Ibrahim Kasim, can you please step into the breach? I would love the evaluators to be timed. 2 minutes, green card. 2 minutes, 30 seconds, yellow card. 3 minutes, red card. Please, this is of crucial importance.
All right, I'll do the timing.
Right, many thanks for that. Ladies and gentlemen, our fourth speaker was Toastmaster Chidi, and her evaluator is the outgoing president of our club, Toastmaster Demola Elemoro. Toastmaster Elemoro, what did she excel at, and what do you think she can do to brilliant of our oratory? Elemoro, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Master Craig. Please confirm if I'm audible, please. All right. Thank you very kindly. You are the first to refer to me as the outgoing president, and finally, the reality is dawning on me. Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Craig. I would like to begin by stating that Toastmaster Chidi, the last time I heard your presentation was I think I was blown away, and I think you also did very, very well in that particular speech. So I'll go straight to my evaluation. You began that speech with a dramatic entry, and for me, that is something you do when you have a command of your content, and you are confident. And I could feel so much interest from everyone that was listening to you when you began that speech, with that dramatic introduction. And then you moved on to say something that really touched me. You said, feel the pain on your butt. That was euphemism. At the same time, that was an idiomatic expression. One thing I can really vouch for in that speech is how rich it was in terms of devices, and it felt almost natural to me, as if they were just coming to you while you were writing that speech. You also made use of something when you said you had a rhetorical question. How many of us here have about 3 tracks? That was also very, very good. You had simile in that speech. You said something about, and you also had repetition where you said inherited hate, inherited this, inherited that. And the speech was just so rich in terms of rhetorical devices. It had a lot of triads and parallelism in it. And unfortunately, your network deprived so many of us what we could have learned from that speech, the remaining gold and silver that was in that speech. And I just hope that next time when you want to give a speech, ensure that your network is strong. If your network is bad, you can switch to another network provider and things like that. In all, that was a very, very beautiful speech. The theme I was able to extract from that speech is love. And I believe it's such an appropriate time to talk about love on a Democracy Day. So thank you very kindly, Madam Division Director, Incoming Division Director, and I wish you the best of luck.
All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Outgoing President. May I confirm with a sense of civilization and propriety that I have been informed that the topics master would be evaluated because her performance is in line with the aspiration of the Pathway Manual project. Of course, it is no news that we're not going to give Toastmaster Ibrahim Kasim the floor to evaluate Toastmaster Mercy George-Igbafe because she couldn't complete that speech delivery. In that connection, I would now renounce control of the spotlight to Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade to evaluate the performance of Toastmaster Rosemary. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Craig. The purpose of the project on active listening, the purpose of the project is for the member to demonstrate his or her ability to listen to what others say. So the evaluator will watch out for, in the project, how she practices listening during table topics. Toastmaster Rosemary did fantastically well. I could see her retreating the questions, rephrasing it after each speaker to show that she was actively listening to their response whenever she dishes out the table topics question. I also noticed you smiled when Toastmaster Boluwatife was relinquishing the virtual lectern to you. Also, you followed squarely after each speaker. However, since the speech was on active listening, while they were speaking, I was looking at on your face while the speaker was speaking. I will recommend that you pay attention as if they were speaking to you directly and not. At a time, I thought it was a network because the motion was stiff until you blinked. That was when I knew you were still being engaged. I will encourage that you not, since you are the table topics master, you're the one they're speaking to directly, you might not speak, but that will show you're being engaged. Also, I noticed you were under pressure at the time, because asking for the time each speaker has spent after their speaking engagements is not the job of a table topics master. I noticed you wanted to finish the session and hand over the lecture. However, you did excellently. Since it's your first time of playing the role of a table topics master, kudos. Over to you, the general evaluator.
All right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade, for your uplifting evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the evaluation of the prepared speeches. We are now going to glide effortlessly into the report session. And I'd like to call upon our master or our counter first. Toastmaster Dosimu, how did we perform in regards to space filling sounds today?
Thank you very much, the general evaluator. So here's the report for Mr. R counter. So TM Chidi Madu, nil. She didn't use the pause filler at all. Then TM Rosemary Amadi, she overused the word so while she was speaking 3 times. Then TM Bulwatife, nil. TM Olumide Ajibade overused the word D while he was evaluating the table topics. Then during prepared speeches, TM Olumide Ajibade, nil. TM Isaac Ogbo used it twice. TM Demola Elemero overused the word D. He overused the word E and overused the word in. So making 4 times. And the winner for today is TM Ariola Adedeye. She used it 7 times. Even at some point, I lost counting. So I want to urge everyone not to use the pause filler while speaking. So it makes your speech, it reduces the value of your speech, it makes it watery. And then it also makes the speaker or the listener who is listening to your speech think you are not sure of what you're saying, or you have no idea of what you're saying. Thank you, the general evaluator.
All right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Dosimu, for the word so, which we use as a transitional marker when we want to show results. We could use accordingly, consequently, or as a consequence. Thank you very kindly for that. The next functionary is the listening evaluator, Toastmaster Bolu. I suppose three questions would be sufficient. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. I mentioned earlier that I'll be back to test our listening skills today. So I'm going to ask 3 questions as permitted by the General Evaluator, and I'd like someone to answer. Okay, so my first quote is this: patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Who said that?
Toastmaster Isaac.
Thank you very much.
Toastmaster Isaac Ogbo.
Thank you very much. Then someone else said, only real democracy can move our nation forward. Who said
Toastmaster
that?
Messi.
Great.
Toastmaster
That's
Messi.
fantastic. Then the last one, leadership is not by title, it is by inspiration.
Toastmaster Chidi Madu.
Our counter, you are answering all my questions.
I think I deserve a gift from you.
You deserve a round of applause. Can we give him that, please? Thank you very much. I'll hand the lectures back to the general evaluator.
Right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Bolu, for that exhilarating segment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go straight to our grammarian who has been listening for the resplendent use of the language as well as improvement suggestions. Over to you, Toastmaster Tosi Imogeme.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity, and here's my report for today's meeting. And let me begin with usage of words and sentences. Now, the word evaluator is not pronounced as evaluator, it's evaluator. You pronounce as though you're using an I. So it's evaluator. I listened to Toastmasters say general evaluator. It's not evaluator, it's evaluator. Basically, it's not basically. You don't say basically. The last letters is pronounced as KLY, basically. Then purpose, not purpose, not POP. You're saying POP, purpose. It's purpose. Not security. Not security, security. During, not during. Though it's DURING, but in the transcription you pronounce it as a J. During. Historical, not historical, not historical. Historical. Response, not response. Response. You pronounce as RI. Response. Fantastically well is a tautology. When you say something happened in a fantastic manner or fantastically, it means that of course it was done absolutely well. Someone said I lost counting. It's lost count. Deserve, not deserve, not deserve. Deserve. Vehemently. It's not vehemently. It's vehemently. I also heard someone start a sentence with also. You can use moreover, you can use however. There are other words you can use as opposed to using also. I heard also someone say, I was listening for the next first pillar. You could say I was waiting, I was anticipating him, or I was anticipating the usage of the next first pillar. I heard in someone's speech, someone said on the day of his driving lesson, met with his driving instructor. There's no need to also use the word driving again. You can say on the day of his driving lessons, he met with his instructor. Once you say instructor, we understand that that's supposed to be your supervisor or something. I also heard someone say 3 weeks after. You can say 3 weeks later. I think that's more appropriate. Then borrow me some seconds. You can say lend me some seconds because you are talking to the person. You are asking the person for a favor, or say spare me some seconds. Now I heard some words that are highly worthy of commendation, which is such as unflinching, coruscating, desecrated, respondents. That was brilliant, respondents. Hopelessness was the air we inhaled. That's a powerful phrase. Devoid, resurgence. These are powerful. There are lots of evaluations that I have here. Now, finally, to the word of the day. Toastmaster Greg used the word twice, inane. I was quite surprised because the word inane is quite easy, and I think it's easy to apply or to use. Toastmaster Boluwatife used it once. Toastmaster Rosemary used it once. Toastmaster Olumide used it once. Toastmaster Josephine used it in the chat room. She used it once, and Toastmaster Chidi also used it once. But the winner goes to our delectable Toastmaster Mercy. She used it 4 times. She used it both while she was speaking and also in the chat box. So this brings me to the end of my evaluation and my commendations and my recommendations. We serve in your best interest, just the way the optimists and the pessimists contribute to the society. It's been said that the optimists invented the aeroplane while the pessimists invented the parachute. Thank you very much for giving me such an opportunity. Over to you, General Evaluator, the professor himself.
All right, Toastmaster Tosi, the grammarian, thank you very kindly for your reports. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the general evaluation of the meeting. First of all, I'd like to commend the concept of the collaboration between Ikeja Toastmasters Club and Learntor Toastmasters Club as well. That demonstrates in crystal clear terms that these two clubs are festooned with members who have innovative minds. Highly commendable. I want to commend the president for his inspirational charge, which was centered around democracy. And what the president did was to eloquently paint a picture of optimism. My only recommendation is I would have loved him to arrive punctually so that the meeting could have begun at 10 a.m. Otherwise, that inspirational charge, in my view, was electric in all dimensions. TMOD, I love the fact that you were able to bring historical context when you talked about Toastmasters. You mentioned in my hearing that Toastmasters came into existence on the 22nd of October, 1924. You did that with military precision, and that, in my view, made the meeting more educational, particularly for the guests. I would recommend that you consider using quotes sometimes to segue from one segment of the meeting to the other. For instance, when you wanted to move the meeting into table topics, you could have considered a quote, for instance, humans are like tea bags. We never know our strength until we are put into hot water. It's time for table topics. Something like that. That would be a refreshing verbal transitional technique to segue from one portion of the meeting to the other. I commend your listening skills. You were able to summarize the content of the speakers. That is coruscatingly brilliant. Well done. For the topics evaluator, I love the fact that you complied with the CRC technique. You commended the speakers, you gave recommendations, and you commended them once more. My only suggestion that could boost the brilliance of your evaluation is you may consider reinventing your sentence structures from the standpoint of technique so that they become more positive. 10 points according to the judges' criteria of the International Speech Evaluation Contest. For instance, where you said also, you didn't use the word of the day. I would have loved you to tell the speaker what you would have loved to see and give a reason or two. You could have said, I would have loved you to use the word of the day, because that would mean that you have mastery over your content, and that can equally help to boost your vocabulary. That would sound more positive. Having said that, I love the fact that you ended your evaluation on a high note when you said, all the questions are very relatable. That's brilliant. Well done. For the speech evaluators, I have just one recommendation. Make your evaluation a performance. A performance. You're talking to the speaker, you're talking to members of the audience. In that connection, you might want to use expressions such as ladies and gentlemen, as opposed to you, which will turn your evaluation into an interpersonal communication. Evaluate performance, the speaker and then the audience as well. Having said that, I want to commend all of you for complying with the CRC methodology, which made your evaluation meaningful. We need to have an agenda for our meetings. That's an area of development. An agenda that specifies the time range for the club. Having said that, I'd like to conclude by saying that the Ikeja Toastmasters Club has the propensity to continue to spread its wings and soar with the rousing vigor of a splendiferous golden eagle. It's back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
The General Evaluator, thank you most generously for the excellent performance. On this note, I must say Thank you to all our audience for staying with us to this present moment. We make bold to say that all the law-abiding citizens of Nigeria are heroes and heroines. Whenever a Nigerian is found in any part of the world, he or she leads in the field or area of expertise. We are changing the world, really. It's been fun, it's been great, but our time here is done. I will now hand over the control of the virtual lecture to the president, who will announce the winner at the table topic segment. Over to you, Toastmaster Lemoro.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. We are 16 minutes late right now, so I think we should hurry and try to bring the meeting